Hello and welcome to another yoga strength class. Today's focus is on the core. For today's workout, you can either do this body weight or you can grab some light dumbbells. I have added in the description down below the recommended weights. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. We will be starting today's class in Tadasana, feet hip distance apart. You can either keep your eyes heavy or closed, rolling your shoulders forward and backwards, lifting your heels, then your toes, moving your body weight forward and backwards to find a nice grounding underneath your toes and your feet. Taking whatever feels the best for you today, really grounding through the feet and what roots us in our practice and our bodies. Lifting your toes off the floor and finding a connectedness underneath your toes with the floor underneath us. When you feel ready and rooted in your Tadasana, you'll lift your arms overhead on your next inhalation and exhaling to forward fold from the waist, slight bend in the knees here. Either placing your dumbbells beside you on the floor or your fingertips beside you on the floor, coming halfway, inhalation looking forward away from the midline, and exhaling to grab the dumbbells again and lifting your arms overhead once more, nice and high towards the sky. Inhaling to bring your arms back down through heart center and to your side. We'll do it a couple more times here at your own comfortable pace. Reaching up nice and high, lengthening through the arms, and exhaling to come into a beautiful forward fold. Inhale, coming halfway through, looking slightly in front of you, away from the midline, and inhaling to reach nice and high up towards the sky, and bringing the arms back through heart center by your sides. Once you get used to the sequence, continue on either with your eyes open or perhaps closing your eyes to get a little bit more of a proprioception training here. Exhaling, forward fold, and inhale, reaching your eye gaze forward and the spine long and neutral. Exhale again to reach nice and high and lengthen the arms up with the crown of the head, and returning your arms back to the side center. Inhale again to reach nice and long, and exhale, forward fold all the way down to the floor. Inhale, slightly halfway up, and exhaling, returning back and reaching your arms nice and long, and where we meet back into Tadasana, standing. Last time here, reaching nice and high, lengthen the spine and the crown of the head up, and exhaling, hip hinge from the waist, coming into your beautiful forward fold, relaxing the head and the neck. Now bringing the eye gaze slightly away from the midline on the inhalation, and exhaling to reach back up, lengthen through the arms, meeting through heart center, and bringing your hands by your sides. Transitioning now onto the floor, we'll inhale, reach the arms back up towards the sky, nice and long with your crown of your head. Exhaling, hip hinge from the waist, bringing your dumbbells, if you had them with you, onto the floor now. Connecting your hands, your palms and your fingers on the floor as we kick your feet back into high plank. Exhaling to reach your hips nice and high, pushing your hips away from the midline into downward dog, and inhaling to come back into high plank. Exhaling to keep your hips nice and high and behind you in downward facing dog, and inhaling, lifting the heels up and coming back into strong high plank. Few more times here. Exhaling, pushing your hips back, trying to connect your heels down onto the floor in the downward facing dog. And inhale, strong high plank, navel draws to your spine. Exhaling, pushing it back. Really push and lift your hips up. And inhaling forward. Beautiful work, everyone. Last time here. Hips nice and high on exhale. Head is heavy. And inhaling, strong high plank. On your next exhalation, dropping your knees back down onto the floor and coming into a seated position. Perhaps moving your shoulders forward and back to restore and replenish your shoulders for doing all of that hard work in this mini series here. Once you feel grounded and ready to move on, coming back either on your dumbbells or reconnecting your palms and fingertips on the floor, returning back into high plank, lifting your hips up into downward facing dog, lifting your heels and bending your knees, either stepping or hopping forward to the front of your mat, meeting in forward fold on the exhalation, and inhale, reaching the arms overhead, back into our standing position, back into Tadasana where we started. Now moving on, we are going to be doing our balancing. To do tree pose today, there is a couple different variations that you can take depending on where you are in your practice. And today we're going to start with, if you have dumbbells, you're going to keep your dumbbells with you the whole time, but feel free to drop them down to body weight if you feel it is necessary. But when you're ready, we're starting with the right leg, lifting off the floor into flexion through the midline, and inhale to tap your toes or keep them hovered off the floor the whole time. And making sure that your core, your navel is drawn in towards the spine as we're drawing that knee into flexion, lifting and hovering the leg off of the floor or reconnecting it at the bottom. Either way, taking this at your own comfortable pace. Exhale, drawing that knee in and inhaling to hover or tap. Keeping awareness into that midline and low abdominals should be working here. We'll do one more, drawing it in and drawing it back down. And when you feel ready, you can reconnect your feet with the guidance of your hand either to your opposite inner thigh, or you can reconnect by bringing that right foot into the medial side of your shin, or bringing your foot and toes all the way to the floor and keeping your pelvis nice and neutral by keeping that right knee out towards the side. Wherever you are, we are finding now a comfortable stance to hold for just a couple of seconds here. For the arms, we are moving it dynamically to prep for our hold, inhaling to lengthen the arms overhead and exhaling to slow and controlled down towards your hips. 2 more times, just like that. If you do have the dumbbells, I know this is challenging, but keep on squeezing your core, squeezing your shoulder blades to support you here. On your next exhalation, finding either now the arms overhead or the arms in that heart center position and holding here. If you do struggle with the balancing today, you can even look at one point in the room and just stare at that one point to help you maintain your balance. For my friends who want to make this more challenging, you can have the option to close your eyes, and this is going to be really, really challenging, but in a good way. So finding a good position here for last 5 seconds, breathing through it, taking one more full complete inhalation and exhalation, and slowly unwinding the feet and slowly returning your right foot back to the floor, and perhaps moving your toes and your heels off the floor shifting your weight side to side or forward backwards, whatever feels best to relieve and restore your feet back into neutral balance. And when you feel ready, we are moving on to our left side. On your next exhalation, drawing the left knee into flexion through center and inhaling to either reconnect your toes on the floor at the bottom or hover. Just like that. We'll do this 3 more times, really tuning in to your breath work and synchronizing your breath with your knee driving in and lowering, really drawing awareness into your medial line, your core, and your tall spine. Nice work, everyone. Last time here. And on your next exhalation, reconnecting your left foot into your right inner thigh, or perhaps into the other 2 placements that feel the best for your body today. Moving through the arms, inhaling to reach the arms overhead, and exhaling slow and controlled way down, bringing your hands by your hips. Inhale, nice and long overhead, squeezing the core and the shoulder blades, and exhaling, really feeling the heat in your arms and your core and the back here as we're lengthening your arms overhead, and slow and controlled, bringing movement down towards your hips. 2 more times. Lengthen the arms overhead. Inhale, and exhaling, bringing the arms by your hips. Last time. Inhaling, reaching all the way up towards the sky. And here, either keeping your arms overhead or perhaps bringing your hands back into heart center in Namaste. Breathing through it here, nice, slow and controlled inhalation through the nose, and deep, complete exhalation out, either through the mouth or back through the nose. You got it. We're holding for last 2, 1, and when you feel ready, unwinding the feet, unwinding the arms, and slowly reconnecting that left foot back to meet the right foot. We're slowly reconnecting our body back to the floor by transitioning through Tadasana once more. On your next inhalation, lifting your arms overhead, lengthening your crown of the head up towards the sky, and exhaling to forward fold, hip hinge from the waist, head is heavy, and bending into your knees, and slowly bringing your hips down to the floor where we'll take a seat, and we are in boat pose. Now you can keep your dumbbells with you, and if so, you can keep it by your chest or by your hips. For body weight, it's going to look exactly the same. And on your next exhalation, pushing your legs out away from the midline and drawing your knees in by flexing it in the center. Keeping your knees and toes squeezed inwards firmly here as we reach and extend the legs. If you'd like some more support today, you can bring your arms all the way to the floor, bending your elbows here, and recline back as your legs reach forward. Whichever variation you are taking today, we are coming into dynamic boat, bringing your knees in on the inhalation and exhaling to come into beautiful low boat position, really feeling your abdominals working here. We'll do the dynamic movement for 3 more times, really tuning into your low abdominals by squeezing your inner thighs and your knees and toes firmly in the center, and keeping your low back nice and healthy and without strain by drawing your navel behind you and breathing laterally towards your side waist. Last time in dynamic here, and when you're ready, bringing your legs into extension, holding our low boat pose. You can either keep your arms with the support on the floor or lifting your palms up towards the sky beside you for a little bit more of a challenge. We're holding for 5 more seconds, breathing nice deep inhale through the nose and deep exhalation out through the mouth. And on your next exhalation, bending into your knees and bringing your arms to meet your knees. And we're coming back onto the floor, perhaps moving your hips and your legs side to side to give yourself a gentle massage for your back. On your next exhalation, slowly bring the feet back down to reconnect your feet with the earth below us. And we are coming into our bridge. We're going to make sure that your heels are close to your hips and your glutes, and your fingertips can barely touch the tops of the heels here. On your next inhalation, lifting the arms simultaneously with the hips up towards the sky. And exhaling to slowly lower the hips, vertebrae by vertebrae, reconnecting your spine as the arm lowers back to the sides of your hips. Inhale reaches us back up. Nice, slow and controlled reach into bridge. And exhaling to bring your arms and your back and your hips slowly back down to the earth below us. 2 more times. Inhale, reaching nice and high, keeping your knees in parallel. And exhaling to drawing your navel down towards the floor to really engage through the midline. Last time. Inhaling brings us back into our bridge position. And a couple different variations here. You can take your bridge and just hold it in this position here. Or you can bring your arms behind your back, interlace your fingertips, bringing your shoulders inwards with your arms, a little bit more close than shoulder distance. Or the last variation is to reconnect your elbows onto the floor, bring your feet a little bit closer to the midline, and supporting your hips and your low back with your palms on your back. Nice deep inhale through the nose and deep exhalation out through the mouth. Taking 2 more cycles of breath, slow, controlled, but not forced. And on your next exhalation, if you had your hands behind your back, reconnecting your hands by the floor besides you, or bringing your arms back to your hips all the way to the floor, and gently coming into your natural position with your back completely flat and your legs slightly coming outwards. Taking 1 full, complete, deep inhalation and complete exhalation here. And when you feel ready, if you are using the dumbbells, feel free to grab both in each hand, or simply bringing your arms up into chest height or chest level, bringing your knees into your midline and connecting your arms back into the center. Lengthen the arms away from the midline with the legs extended, and bend and flex the knees and reconnect the arms into center. As we're lengthening the arms and the legs overhead and away from the midline, really drawing your navel down to the earth below us, making sure that there is no low back gap between your low back and the floor to keep your spine nice and healthy, and also so that you really feel this in the core and not your low back. Feel free to keep moving through this cycle if this feels like the best option for you today. If you'd like to make this a more challenging and coming into our climax of our practice today, we are setting up in the Queen of Asanas, Sarvangasana, We're going to be bringing your arms behind your hips, really making sure that your shoulders are engaged here, and bringing your inner thighs and your knees together the whole time. On your next exhalation, bringing your knees into flexion in through the midline, and bringing your legs up and lift it up by supporting your palms behind your back and your elbows firmly onto the floor. Once your legs are lifted up nice and tall towards the sky, coming into dynamic movement, exhaling, bending the right knee in towards the midline, towards your face, and inhaling to reach your leg into extension and alternate the sides. If you're on the floor, breathwork stays the same. Exhaling to bend the knees in towards the midline and inhaling to reach away from the midline. 2 more times just like this. And on your next inhalation, we will be holding with the legs away from the midline. If you are in Sarvangasana today, you can either keep yourself holding in a Sarvangasana, or you can come into plow by bringing your toes all the way to the floor, keeping your knees and your inner thighs together in contact with each other the whole time, and bringing your arms either in an interlaced position on the floor or supporting your palms behind your low back. Either way, we are holding for 5 more seconds. Continue to breathe. Nice deep inhale and exhale. And on your next exhalation, slowly unwinding yourself either from plow, or if you're on the floor, bringing your knees into your chest. If you were in plow, bending your knees into your chest by supporting your arms with your low back. And we're slowly bringing yourself all the way back down, vertebrae by vertebrae, and slowly extending your legs all the way to the floor. Or if you feel the low back is a little bit sensitive, you can keep your knees bent and bring your knees into your chest, or bringing your toes to reconnect to the earth below us, but keeping your knees bent until you feel good with the back again. Taking 5 complete inhalations and exhalations here without forcing anything. You can even gently close the eyes if that feels comfortable, to just melt onto the floor for just a few moments. Taking 1 more complete inhalation and complete exhalation. On your next inhalation, slowly turning yourself around by bringing your belly onto the floor. And we're coming into our back bending posture, which is going to be bow. Keeping your forehead down onto the floor, bringing your toes and your knees and your hips together in the center. On your next exhalation, bending your legs and keeping your palms by your hips and lifting your torso up and away from the floor, and simultaneously reaching your arms back. If it feels good for your practice today, and you can reconnect your arms on the outsides of your feet, feel free to connect them now, or we will just keep your hands beside your hips. As we lift is an exhalation, your torso and legs come off the floor, and inhaling to return back into the starting position. Exhaling to lift yourself a little bit higher every time in this dynamic position, and inhale to return all the way back down to the floor. 2 more times, exhaling to come into bow And inhaling to slowly come down to reconnect with the earth. Last time here, exhaling to really kick your legs nice and high towards the sky. And we are holding here either with your hands on your feet or your hands besides your hips. Continuing to breathe deeply here and simultaneously lifting your torso, lifting your legs up and away from the floor, really kicking into your hands or simply lifting a little bit higher. On your next inhalation, slowly returning yourself back all the way to the floor, unwinding your feet, unwinding your hands, and gently creating a pillow for yourself by stacking your hands and bringing one cheek onto your pillow that you created. And slowly switching now your cheek to the other side, getting a nice rest and recovery for the head and the neck. And on your next exhalation, pushing away from the floor, bringing yourself back into a seated position. Ending today's class with a couple stretches, starting with the neck stretch. You can either guide your right hand first to the side of your head for a nice lateral neck release, or you can simply do this neck release without your arm guidance. Slowly now switching to the other side, continuing to breathe. Nice deep inhale through the nose and deep exhalation out through the mouth. And on your next exhalation, coming into rotations, rotating your head in one direction, drawing the chin in towards your chest. And when you bring your chin in towards the chest, switch and alternate the rotation, not forcing anything, but gently releasing the back and the front of the head and the neck here. On your next inhalation, guiding your left palm down onto the floor, right hand reaches to the side and overhead, opening that top arm, really stretching now into the lateral side of your waist and your lats and your arms here. Relax the head and the neck by looking down towards your knee. And on your next exhalation, switching sides, lifting the opposite hand overhead and really leaning into that side, opening through that top arm, really feeling the whole lateral line, the fascial net, releasing here. On your next exhalation, coming back in the center, interlacing your hands and reaching your palms away from the midline and curling your upper back to release the back line and the back of the neck. Taking one more full and complete inhalation and nourishing deep exhalation. And collectively bringing your arms overhead, lengthening them, bringing only the positive energy in towards heart center and only keeping the good vibes into the depth of your soul. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself today, and thank you for allowing me to guide your practice. I will see y'all in the next one. Have a wonderful day.